What's going on, everybody? This is another Zabbix use case. Today's topic is how to design a template which will monitor the file system but not fire a trigger when the certain percentage has reached, but fire up the trigger when a certain gigs or megs has been reached. For this particular example, I will start the project with an existing template OS Linux. I will do a full clone of the template and name it differently, like file system monitoring and with the gigabytes. The groups for the template will be modules because it will contain only one discovery and take care of the file system monitoring, like one thing for the template. Hit the enter to apply the template. Let's navigate to the modules. I do have here one linked template, Zabbix app, Zabbix agent. I will unlink that off with this button, update. Remove every item the template owns right now. Delete. OK. Also applications, there is quite of them. I will leave only the file system application. Screens do have additional purpose right now here, and discovery, the network discovery must go away, and we are left only with the file system discovery. By default it executes every 1 hour. It's a passive check, but to speed up this demonstration I will convert this type to the Zabbix agent active, which will let me to speed up the discovery when I restart Zabbix agent, because when the agent is started up, it will always execute all the active items. That's how I can gain the control over the discovery. And for the real life, for the production, it's quite recommended to set the update interval as big as possible. We will do such way. Okay, now the discovery is okay. Items. The Windows template and the Linux template, the differences between them. The Linux template have this guy which takes care of both the inodes. It's an important thing on the Linux file system when you are creating really millions of files in the file system. Then this is a really important guy. But for the template to be suitable for the Linux and Windows system in the same time, I will not respect this guy and remove and leave only the item which is responsible about showing what is the disk space right now, and it is this guy. Okay, to speed up some things, I will convert this item as well to the active and set the update interval as 1 second. It's a minimal interval which Zabbix allows for the metric delivery. Hit the enter. Trigger prototypes. Now we must set the definition when the trigger needs to fire up. Severity will be warning. Add an item, select item prototype, the only item we do have in the template. The function last will be used, and I will use the trigger logic when the metric arrives and it is smaller than 2 gigs, then it is a problem. But this trigger it's highly recommended to use macros whenever possible, because we can adjust the trigger threshold and the trigger title in the same time. So I will replace this 2 gigs with the macro called file system limit, curly parentheses closing, and To not spam your email, I will use a different recovery expression as well. The same definition from here will be delivered here, only let's reverse the logic. The problem will be resolved only if the file system limit is bigger. Reported file system bytes is bigger than limit, plus let's add some additional 100 megs for some window. So the problem will be resolved only when the disk goes bigger than 2 gigs plus 100 megs. Only this means that the problem is really resolved, and you can set here even a bigger thing like 300 megs. Okay, next thing, to design a trigger title. Let's write free disk space on the file system name is less than, and curly parentheses, file system limit. That's it, and we must now specify what is the meaning of this guy, the 2 gig meaning. I did copy this to the clipboard. Let's add this trigger prototype, navigate to the template, and here is a macro section. Let's set this limit here. It will be 2 gigs. Update. Now it's time to test if this template are bringing us any benefits. I will go to my only server, Zabbix server, and right now it does not have any template which takes care of the file system monitoring. I will link the template monitoring, file system monitoring, add and update. 45 items is right now installed for the Zabbix server, and now to speed up the discovery I will go to the terminal and at first reload the Zabbix server cache by initiating such command. Zabbix server capital R for the runtime command and config cache reload, and the next thing we need to restart the Zabbix agent, and now the discovery executes instantly. Let's go to the interface again. 45 items before. When we refresh the page, it's 47. Opening up the items, filtering out only the file system items, and now we can see that Zabbix did discover the root mount and also the boot mount, and the item update interval is installed as 1 second. Right now the agent are not executing such monitoring because it's instructed to pick up the job to monitor every 2 minutes, and it is configured in the variable like here. Refresh active checks every 120 seconds. If you are not satisfied with this interval, then alter it and it will pick up more frequently. But now, because I did convert this item to the active, I can speed up this interval by restarting the agent. But before that, I do need to reload the cache of the server again if I do not want to wait 1 minute, and restart the Zabbix agent. Now it instantly picks up these instructions, and we can see some metrics under the monitoring latest data. Same things, the monitoring for root and monitoring for boot is picked up, and for the root it is free disk space 2 gigs, and for the boot is free space 300 megs. And because we did set the trigger threshold to compare this value with 2 gigs, this means that it should fire up a trigger for the boot partition, and let's check it out. Monitoring, problems, and we can see, yes, free disk space on boot is less than 2 gigs. We put a variable in the title and it's now expanded, and this problem is on board just in the second when we did restart the agent. It instantly reported the metric and the trigger expression was evaluated, and it gone to the problem state. What to do, because the boot partition under the Linux system usually can have such thing as 300 megs free. It's okay to have 300 megs. We can invent a context macro. And what does that mean? We can have the definition for the boot partition, and for such purpose we must go to the template. Here, discovery, we have a trigger prototype, and we can invent a context. A context in this case is the file system name, and we can set this context in the file system limit. To do that, all we need to do is write a colon, double quotes, and inside the double quotes the file system name. Same must be applied to the recovery expression, colon, double quotes, and the file system name. And also for the title, colon, double quotes, file system name. That's it. What to do? Update. We do have now the new trigger prototype, and this definition will be populated when new discovery executes after 1 day. To speed up the thing, restart the agent. Restarting the agent can help. Before that, I would like to accent to take a look what triggers has been populated right now. We can see here is the trigger. 2 triggers for the file system, this guy, and it contains a static file system limit macro in the trigger expression. Let's try to restart the agent. At first reload the configuration cache and then restart the agent. It will instantly generate new items and triggers based on the new trigger, based on the new logic which has been modified in the template. We can see such thing right now here, and when we apply again to the triggers page, we can see it changed the logic, and now the context is installed inside the trigger expression. And to create a limit for the boot partition, all we need to do is select this guy one on one and go to the template and open the template, go to the macro, set here the guy, and what is the exception for this guy. It's okay to have 2 megs for this guy. Update. Let's go now. Let's reload the server cache, and it will instantly pick up the macro. And because the item are delivering every 1 second, the trigger should be now resolved. Let's see. Monitoring, problems, and it indicates it's now resolved. But if we are looking closer in the trigger title, it still states 2 gigs. And why is that? Because we did alter the template in the middle when the trigger was still on board. And will it be different in the next time when the trigger fires up again? And we can simulate such scenario by filling up the boot partition, boot here, and I will try to create one file, dd input from dev 0 and of it like some file, and the byte size will be 1 meg and count like 200. Don't know if this command will work, and it does execute something. I hope I did write the correct syntax. It did create 200 megs file under this partition. What is the free space currently? The free space is available. It's 135 megs, and we did set an exception for 200 megs. This means that Zabbix should already fire up a trigger because of the logic. Let's check it out. Yes, it did fire up 9 seconds ago, and the macro right now was expanded correctly from the exception we did set before. Alright guys, that's it for the demonstration. Hope you like it, and see you another time.